Alright, hello Padawans. Today's activity is really simple. You are going to look around your house for evolutionary relationships. Now, normally I would ask you to go to the store and buy a bunch of candy. Luckily, I have my quarantine snacks, so I already have a whole bunch. I got a bunch of chocolate, I got some Cadbury's, some Cha-Chas. Some are already open. This is my third time doing this video, so give me a break here. Got Kitkats. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to pick something that has a common ancestor. All of these candies have chocolate inside them, so that's my common ancestor. Now, you can do anything in the house, right? So if I just look around the house a little bit, I have a lot of things I can use. I mean, I just have a whole bunch of, potatoes, onions, avocado, lemons. I can use my fruit. I can simply go to my refrigerator and look around. And I have all these different sauces. So each one's a little different color, different texture, different flavors. So I can look what's inside my fridge. Just going around my room. Look, I have all these shoes. I can try to figure out the evolutionary origin of my shoes. If you want to make it much more realistic and you have a garden, then go out and look at all your plants. And you have different size leaves, different size shapes. So this stuff, any of these things you can use for your activity today. Okay, so the idea is to figure out the evolutionary tree for whatever you pick. If you want to use, honestly, you can use your imagination. If you want to use superhero characters, you're more than welcome to use Marvel Universe and think about how they have evolved. So, I picked candy. So I went to the store and I bought some candy. Now, a safety issue with that, right? In your report, you must follow the IA criteria and you always must include safety. So, if you're going to go to the store and buy a bunch of food, make sure you use a mask. Perhaps you might want to bring a stick with you to keep people away from you, defend yourself, but use your PPE, your personal protection equipment. You do not want to go to the store and get coronavirus, all right? So be safe in whatever you do. Maybe you want to use gloves so you can analyze if you're using plants and you don't want to get stung by a scorpion or something, or you're going to use gloves, but always include safety when you're doing your experiment. So now, it's not an experiment. You're not going to have the independent, dependent variable. You're not going to have any of that. You're just going to have a background information, topic. Your research question is real simple. What candy evolved first, right? In my case. So, and you got to have, when you evaluate, you got to have strengths, weaknesses. In the end, you're going to build a cladogram. So, okay, I'm gonna start this. I look at my chocolate. So I have this Cadbury chocolate. It's just pure chocolate, okay? And I have these Hershey nuggets. They're also just pure chocolate. So I don't know. I don't really know which came first, right? I really don't know. I mean, they both have chocolate. Now this Cha-Cha's has peanuts. Now this is pure chocolate. So I can hypothesize perhaps the large Cadbury chocolate bar evolved into smaller pieces and evolved into smaller Cha-Chas, and now they have this candy shell. So let's give it a taste. Yes, it's pure chocolate. So another safety issue, if you're using chocolate, you might get fat and obese, so be careful with that. Especially and if you're eating, don't eat plants, and if you're using shoes, don't eat your shoes. Okay, but if you're using candy, you can go ahead and give it a taste. Makes it a little fun. All right, so that's one pattern. Now, I have Snickers here. Snickers is very complex, actually. I mean, I've already eaten a few bites of it. It's got caramel, peanut. You got my Kitkat. The Kitkat is actually very, very complex. I mean, it has these multiple layers, right? Taste it. Okay. Is the chocolate the same? Oh, okay, it's a little flavored chocolate. These are a bit more milky. Maybe you have dark chocolate, and that makes it a little more bitter. All right. Kitkat also comes in 4 different pieces, whereas this is like one solid piece. So I should probably open this up and taste this one too. All right, let's open this one up. Oh, you're being difficult. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, see, look, this one has all these different pieces, right? So maybe this evolved from these. Who knows? Now look, you gotta use your proper terminology. So we have a couple concepts. Adaptive radiation means you have one common ancestor, and this is gonna sprout many other species. So think about the finches on Galapagos Island, or all the big cats, lions, tigers, jaguars. They all have one common ancestor, and they species into many species. That's adaptive radiation. Now look, I have this Cadbury thing with fruit and nut. I have just pure chocolate, and I have cashew nuts. Now this is a nut, and this is peanut. So, but if I hypothesize that I went from the pure chocolate bar to the Hershey's to the Cha-Chas, that's one pathway. Now this other pathway, this has cashew nuts. Now, so this is two pathways, but they both evolved to have nuts. That would be an example of divergent evolution. So like when things diverge, when things have one ancestor and they move apart from each other, right? So if you think about things that have a common ancestor and different functions. So we're going to take the wing of a bat, the fin of a dolphin, the arm of a human, and a leg of a dog. They all have different functions. They all have common ancestors. But then take the wing of a fly and the wing of a bat, very different. Do not have a common ancestor, but they both fly, right? So that's divergent because they have the same function but different ancestors. So we also have a few overlapping terms here. We have homologous structures, analogous structures. Homologous structures have the same origin. Analogous structures have a different origin. Divergent means that we have one common ancestor and they split apart. Convergent means they become more similar. Okay? So I got a few pathways here to take. So what I'm thinking is I think the chocolate evolved first, and then I have the Hershey's, and then I have the Cha-Chas. And then over here, I'll show you in a second, I think then came the cashew nuts, and then I have this fruit and nut. But then I got the Snickers bar, and I have the Kitkat. And I also have this milk tea Kitkat, so I think that came next. So here is the evolutionary tree. Okay, so first came this guy, all pure chocolate, and then this guy evolved, and then these evolved next. And then the other pathway is this, and then these two guys. So this right here is my cladogram. Okay? That's all you have to do for day one. So today I want you to go around your house and I want you to find something that you can compare and analyze. So that is your assignment number one, and you're going to make a cladogram. Assignment number two is you're going to make a report. So obviously you have the IA criteria. Okay, not every strand is going to be used. Obviously, raw data is really just going to be your observation. So you're not going to have, you're not doing trials, you're not doing standard deviation or mean. You're just going to have a notebook with like, okay, what are my common features? They all have chocolate. Some have peanuts. Some have like granola or caramel inside them. Okay? That would be my raw data. My process data is going to be a cladogram of my whatever I chose to analyze. Uncertainties, well, you know, obviously like this could just be like, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not sure if this or this guy came first. I just don't know. That's uncertain. I'm uncertain about that. I can't prove that. I can hypothesize, but I can't prove it. So I'm just gonna keep testing chocolate. Make sure it doesn't go bad. Okay, it might go bad in a few minutes, so eat it real fast. It's also good for you, as like Harry Potter says, you know. Chocolate makes you feel happy, so it's a good candy. Makes you feel good, especially in these quarantine times when you feel a little lonely. So, eat up. But don't get fat, and make sure you go to the gym a lot. You gotta run it off, because you don't want to be obese. Obesity is bad. Okay. Conclusion. Described in detail and justified. Conclusion theory. Justified through comparison to relevant scientific context. So you can compare your cladogram to the Galapagos Islands, to the finches. So compare your theory to established theory in your textbook and in actual real life examples. Strengths, weaknesses. So obviously my evidence for chocolate be my common ancestor would be strength, because they all have chocolate. So that's that's a very good piece of evidence that shows that there's a common ancestor there. Weaknesses, well, there's cashew and peanut. I mean, and then there's a size. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to know which came first. So that's a weakness. Offer realistic, relevant suggestions. Your communication is scored on presentation, structure, relevance, and terminology. So use the terminology I'm using: adaptive radiation, homologous structures, analogous structures. Maybe you can find evidence of vestigial structures. Maybe you can find evidence of convergent, divergent evolution, or examples of coevolution. Okay, so use these terminology in your report. The report is due tomorrow, and that is your activity for today. Have fun!